back to our channel. We are the Two Wheel Buckeyes. I'm Keith.
I'm Dawn.
And today we're really excited to take you on our latest adventure, which is taking us down to the Nashville, Franklin, Tennessee area, where we're going to check out the area, and then we're going to take a ride on the Natchez Trace Parkway.
We're going to have some beautiful scenery on our ride, and there'll be lots of history.
Right now we're stopped at a dealership just outside of Louisville, and we're getting ready to hop back on the bike and finish out our trip down to Nashville. So if you're ready, we're ready. Come along with us and let's grip it and rip it. Morning, everyone. We are heading over to our first stop on the Natchez Trace Parkway, and it's going to be the Natchez Trace Bridge. So we're going to head that way. So get ready and come along with us. Well, as we mentioned, our first stop is at the Natchez Trace Parkway Bridge. We got a little shot of the lower level observation area, and this is what the bridge looks like from the upper observation area.
I think it's much more grand in person than in pictures and videos we've seen.
Oh, yeah.
Like, to be here is just like a whole different sort of awesome, honestly.
When I walked around the corner up there, I'm like, wow. But trust us, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Even if it doesn't look awesome, it's awesome. You can probably see more maybe in the early spring or the fall once the leaves fall off, because there's a lot of trees covering it up, but you can see it from here. Just to give you another view going over the bridge here, and our next stop is going to be about 30 miles up the road at what's called the Gordon House. So we'll be stopping there and showing you what that's all about. In the meantime, we'll give you a little bit of scenery here on the parkway. road so far is it's the pavement is in very good shape. The roads are just nice, casual turns, nothing sharp, nothing demanding, nothing exhausting about it, just kind of real casual sweeping turns. The one thing we have been told is the speed limit is posted at 50 miles per hour, and we've been told from people who have come down here before that you don't even want to go 52 because they'll look for a reason to pull you over, so stick with 50 or below. Okay, let's go over here and see what the Gordon House is all about. One of the few remaining buildings associated with the old Natchez Trace is the house of ferry operator John Gordon. In the early 1800s, Gordon made an agreement with the Chickasaw chief George Cobert to operate a trading post and ferry on the Duck River. Military expeditions with General Andrew Jackson kept him away from home much of the time. His wife Dorothea supervised the construction of the present house in 1817 to 1818. John Gordon died shortly after it was completed, but Mrs. Gordon lived here until her death in 1859. So we're going to go take a look at it. We'll get a little bit closer look. You can't go inside, but you can get a look at probably one of the more historic houses along the Natchez Trace. And the back side of it probably was considered a pretty big home back then. Assume there were stairs and whatnot going up to the doors. Well, that was the Gordon House. Leave us some comments what you thought. It was kind of cool seeing a home of that era. So we're gonna keep heading down the trace, and in about 20 miles we're going to be stopping at the Meriwether Lewis Memorial and Burial Site, and we'll tell you a little bit about that story when we get there. In the meantime, we'll show you a little bit more of the trace. Area. this is the little place they have for tell you all about Meriwether Lewis. In his memorial, it's kind of a mystery what actually happened, but just briefly, Meriwether Lewis of Lewis and Clark fame had gotten into politics and things afterwards, and he was traveling back to Washington, D.C., and he stayed at the house here and woke up the next morning and they found him dead. I believe he was shot, and they don't really know what happened. Why was did he commit suicide? Was he killed by somebody during the night? They're not really sure. But this is what those grounds are. He was an accomplished leader, writer, naturalist, and outdoorsman. He and his friend Lewis Clark ushered in a new era of exploration as leaders of the Corps of Discovery, selected by President Thomas Jefferson to search for an all-water route to the Pacific Ocean. Lewis displayed undaunted courage by leading his men into uncharted territories and bringing them back safely. In his 35 years, Lewis established a legacy that lives on today. These exhibits give insight into his life, his final days, and his impact on our nation. On the afternoon of October 10th, 1809, Meriwether Lewis left the old Natchez Trace and sought shelter in an inn called Grinder's Stand. Mrs. Grinder and her children made Lewis welcome. He slept in the main cabin. Mrs. Grinder and the children in the separate kitchen, and the servants in the barn. The full details of what happened that night may never be known. We do know that bleeding from 2 gunshot wounds, Meriwether Lewis died just after dawn. So we're going to show you those areas here. This is a nice map here to kind of show where we're at. You can see Nashville, and then you can see all the trace going down almost New Orleans, but then how far along the line we are at the Grinder property. Yeah, so this is the Grinder house, the site and ruins of the Grinder house in which Meriwether Lewis met his death on the night of October 11th, 1809. This is the Meriwether Lewis site. The plaque reads, "Beneath this monument, erected under a legislative act by the state of Tennessee, 1848, the dust of Meriwether Lewis, a captain in the United States Army, private secretary to President Jefferson, senior commander of the Lewis and Clark expedition, and governor of the territory of Louisiana. In the Grinder house, the ruins of which are still discernible, his life of romantic endeavor and lasting achievement came tragically and mysteriously to its close on the night of October 11th, 1809. The report of the committee appointed to carry out the provisions of the Monument Act contains these significant statements. Great care was taken to identify the grave. An old surveyor had become very early acquainted with the locality. He pointed out the place, but to make assurances doubly sure, the grave was reopened and the upper portion of the skeleton examined, and such evidence found as to leave no doubt of the place of interment." So this is where he was buried after he died here. And really the whole area is a cemetery. Very cool, very historic, tragic ending, and a story that's never been completely closed. So this is a section of what was the actual old trace. Certain areas they just kind of follow the road and the parkway, but certain places where they actually have it marked where they know the trace actually went through. And just some hiking trails along here. Well, that was the Meriwether Lewis site. Very interesting, very historic. I got to see a little bit of the actual old trace. So we're gonna get back on the parkway here, and in about 15 miles there should be a stop that may have some lunch places for it. And we're getting a little hungry, so I think that's going to be our next stop. So come on with us. Alright, we got a little bonus stop here. This stop's called Sunken Trace. Talks a little bit about the trace. This early interstate road building venture produced a snake-infested, mosquito-beset, robber-haunted, Indian-traveled forest path. Lamented by the pious, cussed by the impious, it tried everyone's strength and patience. When the trail became so waterlogged that wagons could not be pulled through, travelers cut new paths through the nearby woods. Here you see 3 cuts made to avoid mud into which ox carts and wagons sank, making progress slow, dangerous, or even impossible. So we'll walk back there. Give us a little walk after our lunch. We stopped, where did we stop for lunch?
Rick's Barbecue.
In
Waynesboro,
Tennessee. Just off the path.
Not far from Alabama.
Yeah.
So that's pretty.
Okay, well, let's. All right, so we decided to stop in Florence, Alabama, and since we're doing the Natchez Trace Parkway, we're gonna stop at Natchez Trace Harley-Davidson and check it out, see what they got. All right, well, we got a special treat for you. A little addition. We took a ride down to Tupelo, Mississippi, and we're gonna take a look at Elvis Presley's birthplace. It was built by Vernon Presley. Gladys and Elvis were part of a small, low-income community strengthened by family, friends, and faith. And this is it right here. We're not going to go into it. They actually closed it about a half an hour ago, but we can at least see it. Birthplace of Elvis Presley. Elvis Aaron Presley was born January 8th, 1935 in this house built by his father. Presley's career as a singer and entertainer redefined American popular music. He died August 16, 1977 at Memphis, Tennessee. But that's the house he was born in. Very small. Amazing to think that's where the king of rock and roll, it all started. This is Elvis Presley's childhood church. He attended a Pentecostal church service where Elvis first fell in love with gospel music. Elvis Presley Birthplace presents a unique experience in the First Assembly of God Church where Elvis and his family regularly attended services. This structure was originally 1 block away on Adams Street. To make way for a larger building, the old church was moved across the street and turned into a residence. In 2008, the building was moved to this site and restored to its original condition. Pentecostal congregations were known for their extended services. One neighbor recalls sitting on the porch on a hot summer's evening and hearing the sweet gospel singing, continuing until late into the night. Just a cool little fountain that they put together. Shows the different years of Elvis's life. Birth in 1935, Memphis in 1948, and then his death in 1977. It's an interesting story about Elvis's first guitar. On January 8, 1946, Elvis's mother Gladys took him to Tupelo Hardware to buy a present for his 11th birthday. Elvis was thinking a .22 caliber rifle or bicycle. Gladys was thinking dangerous and dangerous. After a bit of crying, he was finally persuaded to choose a guitar, in fact, his only choice. The Presleys gave their son $7.75 birthday gift and a priceless legacy to the rest of us. It was a gift that has kept on giving. So that's where we were just at, up at the top of the hill. They said Elvis used to go up there and sit on some milk crates and play his guitar. And the path that goes up there kind of zigzags a little bit. And that was done on purpose because, as you would expect, an 11-year-old boy walking up the hill is not going to walk straight up the hill. He's going to meander around a little bit. So that's how they set the path up. Kind of cool. And as we wrap up our visit to Elvis's birthplace, we'll just leave you with a nice quote from Elvis. Until we meet again, may God bless you as He has blessed me. Well, we're getting on the road on a Sunday morning, heading 65 north. Next stop, Columbus, Ohio. Saying goodbye to Nashville for the moment. Say goodbye to Nashville.
Yeah. As we come to the end of our motorcycle ride down the Natchez Trace Parkway and surprise visit to Elvis's birthplace in Tupelo, Mississippi, we can't help but feel grateful for the incredible experience we've had. The winding roads, breathtaking scenery, and the interesting history of the parkway provided the perfect backdrop for our journey, and the visit to Elvis's birthplace was a true highlight. We hope that watching this video has inspired you to hit the open road and seek out your own adventures, whether on a motorcycle or in any other way that speaks to you.
If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting two-wheel travel content. If you have any questions or suggestions for other places we should visit, leave a comment below. We'd love to hear from you. Remember to always stay safe and enjoy the ride. And who knows where your next adventure will take you. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the road.